Hello, everyone. We are back with another author interview with the wonderful Karen White. Hi, Karen.
Hi.
We're so glad to have you. So first, we're going to start out with a fun Would You Rather. Ashley, would you like to start?
Sure. Okay. Would you rather listen to Pentatonics on repeat or Michael Bublé on repeat for the whole season?
Michael Bublé, hands down. That was so easy. Make them harder.
Okay.
Hard.
Okay, then I think if she wants hard, then let's do.
No, I'm just kidding.
Okay.
I don't want to look stupid in public. Okay, it's okay if I do it in private, but yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. Would you rather be stuck in a scene from Home Alone or in a scene from Christmas Vacation?
Oh, Christmas Vacation, please. That is our go-to family Christmas movie. I know every word of dialogue. So yes, Christmas Vacation.
Oh my goodness. That is so funny.
Margot. Yeah, I'm Margot during the Christmas season. So.
That's so funny. Okay.
Okay. Would you rather ride the Polar Express or in Santa's sleigh?
Polar Express. I don't know how Santa does it without falling out. So I'm afraid of heights like that. So definitely the Polar Express.
I think you're our first to say that. And that was my answer too, because I feel like it's so magical.
Yeah. Scary. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Hang on. I'm gonna grab this one's really funny. And I think the authors that we've asked this question to, they start laughing in the middle of the question. So would you rather have 11 pipers piping while writing or 12 drummers drumming while writing?
Pipers piping the drumming. Can you imagine?
It's like Jumanji. It's terrible.
This is the second book I've written while doing renovations in my house, with the hammering and the sawing, and we're knocking out walls and stuff. So let me tell you, it ain't easy. Definitely the pipers piping, assuming they're all in tune and they know what they're doing.
I was going to say, how good are these pipers?
Just don't make me say that really fast.
Yeah, that's funny. Okay,
now we're going to move into kind of like our just general holiday questions, which are kind of fun. So what is your favorite holiday treat?
Oh gosh. Probably my mom's Derby pie. I serve that every Christmas.
No, what is that?
Yeah, Derby pie. We need explanation.
So my mother is from Mississippi, and they always had pecan trees, and it is pecan. Remember, pecan is something a soldier takes.
We always say pecan.
Honey, mom was from Mississippi, okay, and they pronounce it pecan. I'm just saying.
Right? I know. My kids started saying pecan because it's very southern in Georgia.
Okay, anyway, so it's pecan pie with chocolate chips and bourbon.
Okay.
And it is so delicious. And my mother always made it, and now I always make it. And my kids, I think one year I decided to make something different, and they were like, "You shot Santa," It's like, no, I'm just doing something different. So it's become a tradition. I don't know if it's Christmas to me because my mother always made it at Christmas time, and now my kids make me make it at Thanksgiving too. But it's so easy and it's delicious. No calories.
Is it like the texture of a pecan pie?
Pecan, yes, it is. It's all that Caro syrup. Hydrogenated oil.
All the way.
All it is. Caro syrup, honey. But you know what? It's Christmas. That's what you do, right? Because if I ate that way every day, I'd have health issues. But it is so good, and you don't pay any attention to the chocolate or the bourbon. And I've learned not to let my husband add the bourbon part because it's supposed to be like 2 tablespoons, and he's like, with the bottle. I'm like, give that to me.
Is it called Derby pie? Like, if I Pinterest Derby pie, will that pop up, or is that like a household name?
Derby. And I guess because the Kentucky Derby and Kentucky bourbon, that's to put in the pie. So I think that's why.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay.
Derby. Mm-hmm.
Okay, add it to our list of treats that we need to make. We have caramels we need to make.
The s'mores things.
The s'more things. We need to make the Derby pie. We're in trouble.
You guys are gonna have to roll me out of this Zoom frame pretty quick. Okay, Megan, your turn.
Okay, Karen, what is your favorite winter activity?
Well, it doesn't snow here, so
Yeah.
you know what? Yeah, and I hate the cold, but I love the cold between Halloween and New Year's. And then January 2nd comes, I just want to fast forward and get to spring. But there's something magical about the cold in
Yeah.
those seasons, because that to me, like we had a snap of really cold weather before it got really, really hot. That's my father calling, and I apologize.
I was just like, is it me?
I know. I'm like,
My poor dad. But no, so cold weather to me is turning on the fire.
you can
putting my
smell it. Just that like cold snap.
That alone, yes.
Yeah.
And bundling up on the couch with a great book and my dogs and blankets, and it's just that cozy. I love being inside when it's cold outside. That to me just reminds me of being a kid growing up, and my husband will make like a hot chocolate and doctor it a little bit with some good stuff in it. And then as we get closer to Christmas and my daughter's home, she and I will have we'll watch Hallmark Christmas movies
Of
and
course.
make it to a drinking game, because she's old enough now. So
What is
they
it?
all,
Is it
how they all involve being indoors, because I can't do the cold.
I'm
Yeah.
trying to think of a Hallmark Christmas movie drinking game. Is it like, this is a small town, drink. This is they kiss under the mistletoe, drink.
Or, she goes home to help her family's Christmas tree farm.
Yes.
Or the big city girl comes to the small town.
She's like cranky. You could write.
Did your guys' husbands ever walk in when you're watching? This is a no fail for me. Every time I turn on Hallmark, my husband will walk in and go, she's going to marry that guy and he's going to leave.
Oh, yes.
And I'm like, get out of here. I know that's what's coming, but I don't want you to tell me.
Let me enjoy it. Yeah.
And like, at what point does the first kiss come? It's always like within the last 10 minutes.
I know. They wrap it up very quickly, and I need a little more than that.
This is a Cameron Candace Bure movie.
Yes.
Get out of here. I don't want to hear your opinion.
Oh, and I can't
have our little
favorite.
Bubble gum, because sometimes, life is not easy. And, and 2020 has been really hard. So let me just have my damn Hallmark movies, okay?
Right. Yes, I agree. Okay, I think you're up, Ash.
So tell us a book that you read every Christmas.
Well, it's one I've been reading to my kids every year, and it's the night before Christmas. It was the night before Christmas, and we used to read it because we have an ornament that's just the little tiny one, and I would have to like turn the pages, and then somebody took pity on me and actually bought a nice edition with leather bound or whatever. And as a matter of fact, I just found it on the bookshelf because it was supposed to be in the Christmas box, and I guess last Christmas or Christmas before last, somebody put it on the bookshelf, so I haven't been able to find it. And I during the renovations, when I had to take all the books off the bookshelf, found it. So now we can. But that's like, how do you start the Christmas? Christmas season starts with us. Thanksgiving night, we watch a Christmas Vacation, because that's what you do. And then Christmas Eve, it's 'Twas the Night Before Christmas.
Yeah.
Pause, because you're going into our next question.
Oh, perfect. So what are some holiday or some traditions that you do every year?
Well, definitely Christmas, and we all have moose mugs, and we'll drink our beverages from the moose mugs while we're watching. And we have the guys, because I have a son and a daughter, so my husband and son wear "Why is the carpet all wet, Margot?" And then my daughter and I have the sweatshirts that say "I don't know, Todd," and we have to wear those while we're watching.
That's the best.
I don't even know what you're talking about, because I've only seen it like one time. I know, Karen, I know.
Okay, all I know is that when my children bring prospective spouses home, sit and watch it. I don't care what time of year, and like, they better either laugh if they're not familiar with it, or know the dialogue by heart. There's no in between. Okay, if they're like, I don't get this isn't funny, I'm sorry, you're not. No.
Well, and I think it's like my family, we were like 100% Christmas Story and White Christmas. We never watched, and Home Alone. So when that came, we added that, and Elf we like. So my family growing up, we never watched like It's a Wonderful Life. But my husband's family is like huge It's a Wonderful Life. And when we first got married, everybody was like, let's go, like our first Christmas, married with his family. And I was just like, can I start on a puzzle? Because I was like, I don't care about this movie. I have no attachment to it. And they were like,
your new attachment.
What? So
You
I'm
still
like,
marry him, huh? Wow.
It's been 12 years. We're still.
It's too late. It's too late. But those are all good movies. And I love A Christmas Story. Oh my gosh, I cry laughing every time.
Oh, funny.
But my favorite tradition, and my kids, like, they give me some pushback now because they're 26 and 28. And they're like, Mom, I'm like, if you want Santa to come, then you better do it. So I wait until everybody's home. It wasn't, when they lived at home, it wasn't a big deal. And now I have to wait until my daughter's plane lands, which is sometimes Christmas Eve. And then you have to go to church and all that and squeeze it in. But when we decorate the tree, because my tree, I only have one. It's not, it's very big. We have tall ceilings, but my husband and I, since we were married, we collect ornaments from everywhere we've traveled and important occasions, like when the children were born or, when we're married, things like that. When the children graduate or, so our ornament collection has been growing and growing and growing. So I sit with the ornament boxes and I pick, lift it out and like, oh my gosh, your grandmother gave this to you when you were born. And I hand it to one of the children and they have to put it on the tree. So it takes a long time, but there are alcoholic beverages and we'll always listen to Christmas music. And the kids now are like on their phone. I'm like, put the phones away or I'm going to throw them.
It's our time.
Yeah. Come on. They're such millennials sometimes, I'm like.
I totally do the ornament thing. Tyler and I do that. We have ornaments from like different places, and my sister-in-law and my mother-in-law both do like themed trees. Like they're beautiful, like these beautiful, and my tree's like colored lights with all these random ornaments, and I like it that way.
Right. I know. It's just, to me, and that's good. And it's beautiful. I don't know people who do that, but to me, the family tree is the family tree.
Yeah.
Of course, the kids are saying when they get married, they want their ornaments. And I'm like, uh-oh.
Well, then maybe you get your fancy tree, and then you'll get grandkid ones that you'll hang on, and then it will start over.
Kids can't, home handmade ornaments that they did in like preschool.
Yeah.
There's little paws on them,
My mom told me we get those because I do this because my parents did the same thing.
Yeah.
My mom's like, you can inherit these someday. Like, you're not getting them until I'm gone. So just get them.
And I started to say that, especially when they give me pushback. I'm like, well, if these ornaments don't mean anything to you, you're not getting them. So
I know. It was like couple years after I got married, my mom was like, here are your ornaments. I want my pretty tree now. So like she gave us all a box of all our like personalized things.
Good for her.
And I'm like, I get it. Like it's time. So, but now my kids have so much fun looking at like I don't think she kept them like all the way when I was like little, but now they just love to see, oh, this is mommy from, whenever elementary school, and just kind of funny stuff.
And I recently inherited my mother's ornaments. She's in a home now. She has Alzheimer's, but I love putting them on the tree and remember them being on the tree when I was a little girl. And, I guess my kids have to be a little older to appreciate that.
Yeah.
But it is, to me, it's a family, it's a memory tree really. And, there might be a fight when my kids get married and want their ornaments. So.
Okay, so tell us about your book. Megan's going to hold it up.
Oh, you have to hold it up because I have that. So this is book 6 in the Trad Street series, which is the penultimate book, which I never say it right, but it means the next to last. So in this book, my editor said, Karen, you've written all these Trad Street. They're set in Charleston. They're what I call my Sixth Sense meets National Treasure meets Moonlighting books. And for those of you who are too old for Moonlighting, that's sort of like Castle. We have the two main characters kind of, going back and forth. So it's a lot of tension there. The main thing, though, the main character, Melanie, she is a realtor in Charleston, and she makes a good living selling old houses, but she hates old houses because they always have ghosts, and she has the inconvenient talent of being able to communicate with dead spirits. So every book in the series she inherits a house on Trad Street in that first book, and her foil. Jack Trenum is a true crime mystery writer, and when she inherits the house, he is researching the disappearance of a woman who had lived in the house in the 1920s during Prohibition. And so they sort of get together to solve the mystery of what happened to her. And there's evil spirits and blah, blah, blah. But they're funny. There's a lot more humor in these books than my other books. So in each book, there is a mystery. In each book, she's restoring the house. And in each book, there's a different house at the focus of the mystery. This book, we're back at her house on Trad Street with Jack, and now there are 3 children, a sister, various other family members, because her sphere of influence has grown and grown and grown. Because the first book, The House on Trad Street, came out in 2008. So Melanie has been busy in the last 12 years. And so because this was going to be the second to last one, I knew I couldn't wrap up everything. So it has its own mystery that is solved in the book, like all the other ones, but there has been a mystery that was introduced in a previous book that is not solved, that will be solved in the last book that comes out next November, which is The Attic on Queen Street, and I just finished it. And also there is an unsettling ending between Melanie and Jack. Nobody knows what's going to happen. So, but
Okay.
I
couldn't make it a happy ending, because there's another book. Stop sending me emails, people. There is another book. So,
Okay, question for you. Will somebody who hasn't read this series, will they be able to read this and kind of get a story out of it, or do they need to go back and read the others first, or what's ideal?
Right. So I have made a point of making sure each book could be read as a standalone. But if you ask any of the fans of this series, and there are quite a few, the strength, because there's mystery and ghosts and whatever, but these books are like all my other books, in that they are very character driven. So this is really a woman's journey, because when you meet Melanie in the first book, she is a mess, and she has to really grow and learn and change as family members come into her, into her house and into her life. She has to grow and change. So the joy of the book is seeing Melanie in the first book, and how each book she changes, in her relationship with her parents and her family, and Jack and his family, how that sort of grows and changes. And to me, that is the joy, and that's the real purpose of this book. Is a woman's journey, and she finds herself in the very last book in a very good place, but she's really had to work for it. So you can read them alone. I just think that you're going to miss some of the joy of the series by reading them out of order.
Okay, so one more question. For readers who have not read you before, can you tell us a little bit about, I think you kind of answered some of the themes that you write about this book, but do you have other books? What can they expect when they pick up your books? I
like to write about flawed women who are strong but don't know it. I think we're all like that. Like I had a horrendous year last year where, personally things were like falling apart, and I was just like, I just can't do this. I don't know how I'm supposed to do this, but I did it. And I look at who I was a year ago versus who I am now. I'm like, wow, girl, you did that. And I think women, I'm in the sandwich generation. I've got kids, husband, dogs, elderly parents, and I am sort of taking care of everything. And, and it's easy to kind of fall in a hole and believe that you can't dig yourself out of it. And my characters are always like that, but there's always something very likable about them. And I think it's because they're very relatable. They are flawed, and there's always a little bit of a love story, but the woman never relies on the guy to help her out of this predicament. So there's always a little bit of a love story. There's always a little bit of a mystery, because I love mysteries. Always a little bit of an historic element, because I love history. But they're not historical fiction or in this case, paranormal fiction or romances. They are women's fiction. They're always the story of a woman's journey. And because I'm from the South, and I that's what I relate to, I call it Southern women's fiction or gritlit. But a lot of times I'll have one of my main characters, like in The Beach Trees, she's from New York, and she inherits a house in Biloxi, Mississippi after the Hurricane Katrina. So, I bring people from all over the place. I've lived all over the world. So Southern Southern women's fiction, always with a hint of all those other elements I discussed. But one thing also is that my endings, although they're not always wrapped up in a neat little ending, I always give the reader hope and light, and because I don't want them to throw the book across the room, so because that's not the kind of book I like to write. The kind of book I like to read, and I don't like to read books where everybody dies in the end. so I would never be an Oprah book club pick, okay? Because my characters are still living at the end most of the time. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Away.
Thank you so much. It's like so fantastic to have you join us for our Offers of Christmas.
Yeah.
We super appreciate it.
And send some snow my way, but only for like 12 hours and then make it go away.
Okay. Sounds good. Well, happy holidays.
And you too. Thanks, ladies. Y'all have a great day.
Thank you.